Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. Season 4, Episode 3. It's called Uprising. Full spoilers for the episode will follow. I thought this was a pretty good. I thought this was probably better than Episode 2, I thought, at the very
Yeah,
least.
I'll agree with that.
Because I felt like this one, obviously the plot of this is that a group claiming to be Inhumans, and of course we find out they're not Inhumans, they're actually watchdogs that are trying to blame the Inhumans for it, but they cause major blackouts in several cities across the world, and they're hunting down Inhumans, and we see Yo-Yo at a bachelorette party with a friend who's getting married, and what I liked about this though is I liked that everything felt very fast moving, felt very like an action sort of based episode.
Yeah, I felt like it helped that it was all in one night as well.
Yeah, everything felt like a one night sort of, like disaster that had to be
Yeah,
dealt
it was
with.
like this.
Yeah.
This is a one-time crisis. Let's respond to this quickly.
Yeah. And we got some interesting dynamics. Of course, Yo-Yo's friend is completely racist, and immediately upon finding out she's an Inhuman, just
Just
discards
gives
her.
her up. Yeah,
I will say this: it took me a second to realise it was Yo-Yo at the start, because as Yo-Yo herself says, she never wears a dress, and it took me a second to realise it was Yo-Yo. Oh
oh
God.
god.
But yeah. Anyway, so we had all that plot, and obviously I thought there was some really cool fight scenes that came out of this as well.
I thought the fight scenes in this were fantastic.
They
Yeah,
were,
there was two that were just so good.
and there were the same group of people both times. It was the first time it was Fitz, Coulson, and Mac coming into the hotel where Yo-Yo was, where the Inhuman, well, not the Inhumans, the watchdogs were holding him at
Yeah,
gunpoint. And that entire scene, especially Fitz stabbing a guy in the hand, like Fitz is
yeah. It
totally a
comes out of nowhere
badass.
as well because it's like, oh, quick, here's a fight scene. It just starts
Yeah.
and then it's like really, really well shot.
It's like there's a moment of like Yo-Yo notices them come in and it plays the theme, it's a heroic moment, and then like Mac just brutes a guy in the face with the back of his fist, and it's just
Yeah.
it's a really good, quick, like 20-30 second fight scene.
But it just looks fantastic.
It looked great. You felt everything in that scene. And then the other one is when they finally figure out where the EMP device is and they go there. Yo-Yo goes in and like takes all the guns and like runs around with the light. So you see this like light moving around really quickly.
Mm.
And then everything's flickering, so it keeps blacking out for like a couple of seconds, pulsing.
Yeah, it's like a second off and
Yeah.
a second on sort of thing.
Yeah, so we keep seeing like them like mid fight moments, like taking out various people.
Yeah.
And again, it just looked really cool and it felt really badass.
Yeah, it's a classic sort of technique, isn't it, when you hide it and just like move things around for each time.
Yeah,
But it looks really good.
it works really well though, especially when you do it right,
Yeah.
because it's got a good sense of pace to it. Because obviously you've got the light literally acting as a metronome.
Yeah, it's almost harder to pace though because you don't have the motion, you've got snapshots instead. So I think it's really good when someone manages to pull it off well.
Yeah. And of course, this all leads to the announcement of S.h.i.e.L.D. because the director and Coulson sort of kind of edges him on, like he convinces them that maybe it's time to go public and let them know that S.h.i.e.L.D. exists again because of these situations, because we've got these watchdogs who are now global, who now have backing in some way.
Plus from a PR perspective, makes sense where you can do it off the back of a victory instead
Yeah.
of just at random.
Yeah, exactly. We solved this tonight. We're the one who turned the lights back on. We're S.h.i.e.L.D. So, no, I thought that was all really cool, and I actually kind of liked them all just hanging around and like eating and stuff while they were just before the announcement came on.
Yeah.
Like the idea of Coulson and like Fitz coming in and just grabbing some nuts and like munching away was I
I
always
did
like
love,
those thing beat
you know,
moments.
when you only steps aside and they reveal the new, like the logo. Mm-hmm. I love the way the music swells up then.
Yeah,
That was really good.
yeah. Also, Coulson being a bit pissed that he's the only person who's not seen the Ghost Rider apparently. That's a nice running joke. In fact,
Amusing.
speaking of nice looking moments, the first time he mentions that, it's just after the powers went out when they're in the van and they get out, and there's just this. It's almost like the end of like Casablanca, where the three of them are walking down the street, but they're in silhouette.
Yeah, it's this long shot
Yeah.
of the whole street of them just walking down. It is really nice.
Yeah, and like Coulson's like, it's, oh, I never got to meet him, and Max like, you're better off, and Fitz is like, yeah, he was grotesque or he was terrifying or whatever he says, but it was just the whole exchange was just kind of amusing, but it was played off this really nice looking like artistic shot.
Yeah.
But no, it was Good. So that was the main plot of the episode. Was that, and of course, I suppose we should talk about the post stinger, which is back. The first two episodes didn't have one of these, but we have one of the people who seems to be backing the Watchdogs currently, although she herself has just activated an Inhuman.
Did she?
Possibly. I don't know.
Because it says she's at her brother's house, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if she's activated him or if she's come in and found him like that at some point.
I don't know.
And
I don't know. Maybe my mind's just jumping to super sinister things, but I almost feel like maybe she. But then again, she's not an Inhuman, or maybe she is. I don't know. But I almost think what if they're trying to turn people to find out if they're Inhumans, and then once they are, and once they come out of the rock, they just put them down.
Okay.
I was going to say just for murder.
Calm down.
But
Yeah. Like I said, it was definitely her brother's house. She mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I just got the impression that her brother had got into that state at some point and she'd found him like that. And she just doesn't know how to react with it.
It's impossible to say. I don't know. She seemed very sure of herself. She didn't seem to be panicked or
Yeah, I don't think it happened recently though. I think he's been that way for a while.
See, I got the impression it was the opposite because she said, "Oh, I'll leave the TV on for you to keep you calm." It felt like it just happened, and that's why she's.
But there was a lot. The mail was a big stack. There was a big stack.
True.
So it had been a while. My assumption was that meant it'd been a while since he'd been moving around and picking up things.
But then it does beg the question: is what is her motive? If she, let's assume she's not trying to kill her brother and she's okay with him becoming an Inhuman. What's her motivation for taking out others? Because she mentions they killed 70 Inhumans that night.
Yeah.
So
that I don't know.
Yeah, it's just the first breadcrumb of the villain of the season.
Yeah.
Or this half of the season, so we shall learn more about that. I will say the Watchdogs seem a lot more interesting this season than they did last, because we only got one or two episodes last season, and they felt very, just kind of weak.
Yeah, they're very one note, weren't they?
Yeah. Whereas they're not necessarily more than one note now, but they just have more of a presence. They feel more intimidating.
That, and they have a purpose. We know they have a clear objective. They're going to take out Inhumans, and we know they're on a bigger scale. And like I said, it feels more threatening.
Yeah. So other plot lines in this episode, of course, May is still affected from last episode, and Simmons and John Hannah's character, whose name I'm forgetting at this moment in time, but they try to save her, and they figure out the only way to do that is to kill her and then restart her heart. But of course the power goes out just as they're about to restart her.
Yeah.
And I thought his life model decoy was going to come out and do something.
I did too. I thought this was going to be him having to reveal her to Simmons.
But instead he just got the power source that she has and used that instead, which, fair enough. But I was sure that he was going to, because you could almost see the choice on his face. Do I reveal her and get myself into trouble to save her?
Yeah, or let May die. Yeah, that you can see it, and that's why I was so sure that's where it was going. And then when it didn't, I was kind of surprised.
But it does put him, because he was kind of he wasn't evil last season, but it was we weren't morally sure where he stood. He was always kind of this slimy guy in the middle, and we weren't sure if he was a good guy. And I feel like that's a little nudge in the right direction of.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily make him a good guy, but it makes him. Because he's not willing to let people die for the sake of it. He's willing to make a personal sacrifice of revealing this technology.
Yeah,
just to save someone.
Again, he's not an outright hero necessarily yet, but it's a step in that direction where we don't necessarily think he's as slimy as he was before.
Yeah, definitely.
More of a heart of gold. And of course, the major storyline is that Skye with Robbie, the Ghost Rider, and it's mainly just them. We get a little fight scene, of course, when the thugs are about to attack Robbie's brother. Which, by the way, something about blackouts on TV and movies, where everyone just instantly turns into violent looters.
They even say it, because I think it was Robbie that says it, where he rides the metro. You know what people get like in blackouts? I think they get away with anything. It's do they? It's still the middle of the day.
Yeah, but it's so instant. Yeah. Actually, it took me a second because when it cuts to LA and it's like still light, I'm like, right, hold on, let me think about the time difference here. Hold on. Right, okay. You know, just because Miami was like in pitch blackness and
Yeah,
LA
it's
was still bright.
a few hours between them.
Yeah, 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's feasible.
yeah, it's feasible. And it helps that in the scenes with Sky and Robbie, they mention it's getting dark soon, so it puts it in the right
that area.
timeline. Yeah. So no, but most of it was actually at Robbie's house, and it was Sky talking to his brother, and his brother being kind of protective and thinking that she was going to be a bad influence. Like, he realizes it's Quake from the news, because she's been, we've seen in the first episode, she's been kind of a news item over the last few months.
Yeah.
And he makes her leave, and that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot more to it than that. But we got a couple of tidbits. We know Robbie's uncle is, the one who worked at the lab, who's responsible for things.
Yeah, and the other uncle raised them.
I thought it was the same uncle.
I thought they had different names.
I didn't even notice the names. I just heard uncle twice.
Maybe I thought I heard different names for them.
Nah, I'm pretty sure it's the same uncle.
Oh, damn it! No,
I feel like having two uncles is oddly unnecessary and complicated.
that might be right, which is why I'm questioning myself. But I could have sworn I heard two different names.
Well, maybe one called them by like a nickname, and the other one.
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah, that seems more likely. But no, I thought this was a fun, tense, lots of good action scenes, lots of good sort of character moments.
Yeah,
and
I thought it was really well directed. Obviously, there was the other fight scene with Robbie and Quake, and I thought that looked pretty good.
It was overshadowed by the other two, but it did look pretty good.
Yeah. Also, just the direction in general, like, when he's going around the car and all the other cars are dying, and like it felt fast.
Do you know? I thought it was weird that she pointed out the reason why the car's still going is because it's from, like, pre-70s, and I was thinking, wait a minute, I assumed it was because it was the Ghost Rider's car, but it turned out just to be, because it's like 20 years old, 30 years old. It's it's no electronics.
With either, really, couldn't they?
They could have. I just thought it would have been more interesting if you said, no, it's because the spirit of vengeance is running through its gas tank.
It's just making it run. But no, I just thought, like, interesting. I find on TV a lot of the time when they shoot cars, it feels slow. But this didn't, and I think it's worth pointing out.
Do you know what I think that is? I think it's because no other cars had to be moving.
Maybe.
Because it was just one car, they could get... I think the reason why cars typically look slow on TV and chases and stuff is because they have less time to shoot it than a movie does, so they have to just kind of play it a bit safer, and they have to...
Yeah, but I mean, there is ways of shooting it to look like there's motion.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But this, like, I think it was just the camera positioning and stuff that made it just look good.
Yeah, which is funny, because they almost didn't have to in this case, because it wasn't like...
Yeah, there was nothing to compare it against.
Yeah, but hey. But no, really strong episode, and once again, S.h.i.e.L.D. is showing that its pacing is immaculate. And in 3 episodes, May has been touched by a ghost. They've dealt with it in the next episode, where they've all realised, and then by the end of episode 3, she's got it out of her. Which, by the way, I love that Coulson's like, "Oh, you sound like your old self. I'm cranky." Exactly. Exactly what I said.
Also, I love Coulson's thing with his hand when it's shut down.
Oh yeah, and it's stuck to the steering wheel. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't, like,
I don't
let
know if you noticed afterwards when he was talking to, I think it might have been Mace at the end, and he had his hands behind his back. He was kind of fiddling with the fingers just to check it was still working.
I also liked to see when he was in that first fight scene with them. Like, you could tell he was just sort of hitting people with that hand rather than actually making a fist and, like.
Yeah, it was stuck in the one position.
Yeah.
He was just waving it about.
Yeah, but because it's stronger, it's still it's hurting. But that was just a nice little subtle touch. Also, Fitz being mad at them for not understanding basic science. Although I have to admit, I was on their side with this one. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, me too.
sure, Fitz, I'll take your word for it. You science on.
I was in Scouts for like 10 years, and I still had no idea what it was all about.
Oh dear. So no, yeah, all the plots moved along. Excellently paced as always. So let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Thoughts and theories on where things are going. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. Thanks very much for watching, guys. We will see you next time.